so we are going to start the July 12th Boulder Creek Recreation Park District Board of Directors regular meeting. It is 7:08, and let's all stand and pledge allegiance. I say flag there.
All right. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
It's still a good
You always
idea.
mess it up. No.
I know, I always want to jump to something about the Batmobile last
Okay, so we will move on to roll call.
Director Galt is here.
Director Hamilton is here.
Director Valdez is here.
And Director Fitzgerald is here. Director Gargis is not present, but is excused. So, who would like to read our mission statement?
I'll read it.
Oh, there you go.
Our mission statement: to provide quality programs and services through the provision of facilities, parks, and activities which enrich and improve the quality of life for people living in our community.
Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to move on to approval of the agenda. Is there any public comment relating to the approval of the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Back to the board. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
I move to approve the agenda.
And I will second.
Is there any board discussion?
Is there any change that you see that you need? Okay. We're good.
Okay, all in favor of approving the agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Oral communications. This is the time on our agenda where any member of the public can address the board on any topic that's not listed on the agenda for 3 minutes. Does any member of the public wish to communicate orally with the board at this time? Okay.
I mean, to be honest, I haven't looked at the whole agenda yet, so hopefully I don't ask something that's been addressed there.
Well, when the items come up, the public is always given the opportunity to address the item that is before the board takes action on it. So we could just give you a couple minutes if you want to take a look at it and see for your
It's
reference.
pretty short.
There's not too much on the agenda for tonight. It's approval of the budget of the next fiscal year's budget, and that has one more. That'll have one more reading before it's the final approval in August. And then there's two closed session matters. One of them concerning personnel. So there's not much on the agenda, so you can talk about anything that you would like because there's not much on the agenda.
Yeah, I mean,
That's within.
politics.
We try to have it be something that we have some control over.
So the next item is the
Well,
consent.
is there something?
I think he's
I was just wondering what sort of other classes I noticed in the downtown one. There was I think a body sculpting, like an exercise movement class. Will there be things like that here, you think, for the public to drop in on?
I'm certain
yoga,
that-
for example. Yeah?
Yeah, but really it's kind of, we're playing it by ear. We're, 4 days in. And,
4 days in?
Yeah, we open on the 7th
Right.
to the public.
Yeah.
So, I fully expect that. We opened up to an extent that I don't think I even imagined that we would at this point. We were really taking it super slow, and staff's been able to sort of expand things much
Right.
More than I thought would be possible given our sort of newness to the pool game and all that. So I'm very happy about that. But, right now we're having summer camps and whatnot running out here, which is also very useful.
Right, yeah.
I expect that there'll be all kinds of stuff that'll be offered out here to facilities to play.
Yeah. And will it be like an annual membership, or will it be like a monthly, weekly?
Usually our classes are per class.
Okay.
She's doing some membership stuff right now with the pool that's mostly just to encourage use when the facility's not open for rec swim.
Yeah.
But we're not going to be a membership like it used to be.
Right, yeah.
Because that just doesn't fit. Because we do facility rentals and stuff like that for weddings and parties and stuff. We're not going to run it on that model. And also because it's a public agency, so we wouldn't really do exclusive memberships. Membership is more used in the sense of you know, so that you can have access to organized hours, like for pool use or to use tennis. But
Right.
as for all the other programs and stuff, those are just pay per class, pretty much.
Okay.
So,
There's like, if you talk to Hallie, she has like schedules, and like we are online, you can see what classes we have. Like, but as far as thinking about what's going to happen here, we're just kind of feeling it out.
I
So
see.
as things come up, then we'll figure out if there's going to be membership or pay by class or drop in or
Right.
so. It's
Still in
gonna
that
be-
stage of
it's
figuring
like,
it out.
just trying to build it up. And,
Yeah. That's great. that you guys
but
do that.
Hallie is the go-to. Like at the board here, if you said, "Hey, your Tuesday night yoga class," it's we'd be like, "I have no idea how much it costs." We'd like on the board
It's
here,
on
we
the
don't really
website.
know. We have to check the website, but Hallie has like all the scheduling.
Right.
So yeah, anything that comes up, Hallie is your go-to.
Nice. Right on, thank you.
Any other oral communications? Okay, so the consent agenda, this is items 6 through 8, and the board basically approves these as a whole. So if you want to take a minute to look and see, that would be the approval of last month's minutes, the bills, and any correspondence that we've received. So I'll give everyone a second to take a look at that. A lot of people tend to be interested in the bill list, or not kind of see what's happening.
You don't think people are super stoked on the CAMPD, the newsletter here from the president?
President's message.
Come on, man.
It's like, look at all our sponsors we got here for the conference.
We were confident.
I want to, I wasn't here at the last meeting, so I don't know if we're board comments, but I'd like to hear.
Oh, we're not there yet. I'll tell you.
Okay, cool.
So, warrant bills, or consent agenda.
Yeah, we haven't taken a motion because I'm giving the public a second. to
Oh, your turn,
take a
guys.
look.
Your turn.
Then, if anybody has any comments about the items on the consent agenda, which are, again, items 6 through 8, now would be the time. Okay, hearing none. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Is there any more comment relating to the consent agenda?
Hey, yeah, so, you know, I was just looking here that the Scotts Valley Banner and the Valley Press, they're not getting sent out to homes anymore. Are they?
Right. Well, it depends on where you live, I guess.
Really? So I was
Yeah.
noticing, I'm taking them to the library.
I get them.
Do you?
Yeah,
I
if
think
you're
it's for,
in
like,
town,
water.
it's exterior, like Boulder
Is it too
Creek,
far out?
and
Yeah, 'cause I
and
was
Scotts
like-
Valley too, like
Mhm.
exterior Boulder.
So some people in Boulder Creek are still getting it?
Yes,
You
yeah.
got the one with the fireworks display?
It's
Downtown, I think.
subscription now.
Well,
So at
no,
a
not
certain
if she
point,
got
they
one.
put a thing, a postcard in there, and if you accept it, they continue delivering, and if you didn't, they don't.
I know ours were like, that wasn't an option on ours.
No.
Well, I mean, you
For-
can get a subscription. I'm just saying, like, I wonder what that's gonna do to the readership, and I don't know.
I
We're
know,
spending
it's
a lot of
water
money.
board. Sorry.
Yeah.
I know, those
So I
poor
don't know,
folk.
like $500, how often do we spend in that? And it's just a bummer that not everyone's
It is, I
gonna
know, I
get
did
for,
think about
like,
that too, because that's a
fraction.
big like part of our advertising. I mean,
Yeah, and
I
fraction.
suppose in some ways it's a savings, but it's a nice way to get information out to
And everyone
community.
gets it, but if they're not, then
Right,
maybe
it does
that's
change
something
our
we need to
interest in
think
doing
about.
it. Yeah.
you could hire someone with a sandwich board on the street. Just kidding.
We already have one in front of the visitor center.
Yeah, we could.
There we go.
You meant a walking.
We need it like a
sandwich
person.
board.
Dancing.
Right, the dancing
No,
sandwich
I
board,
want
yeah.
them going with
To make it cheaper, could we just get one of those like those blow up things?
Oh, yeah.
Car dealerships? Pretty good guy.
Maybe.
this. I'm sure that's a big hit.
That whole good stuff. I don't know, that was just kind of popped into my head after having to pick
Put
up
Santa
the
Claus
paper.
back on the corner and all year round.
Today's class is Santa says, yeah.
Yeah, that hit me too. I was like, oh, bummer.
It was a bummer. So there's a cute picture of the of our DJs in the paper. If if you were to get the paper at the
I
library
didn't.
or wherever you get it. So that's all I have.
Anyone else?
Well, I couldn't help but notice that a certain milestone was reached this month, just under 51%.
I noticed that myself.
Yeah. Yeah, so over 50% of our expenditures were covered by revenue. So
So is that because we got all our camp stuff in?
It's so varies on when people sign up.
right,
Like
and
people
it,
that signed up for camp 4 months ago, theirs was already in there. So none of it's month by month accurate.
right.
Or like July 4th, money's not in here yet. Action Music and Art's not in there yet. So 2 big donations aren't in there. So those are all kind of
But it's fun.
when they come in. Yeah.
It's
But
fun
it
when I
is
see it
Enjoy the
happen.
moment.
It
Yeah.
goes, enjoy the moment. It goes like from 30% to 50%. But I think this is the first time I remember it going over
Yeah.
50%. So anyway,
And just to like talk about how significant that is, when I first came on, our expenses to income, where were we? We were in the 10%.
10%, I think,
We would
maybe,
like,
yeah.
we would basically,
$3,000 a month.
so every time that the rec district was making a budget based on what the whole year was gonna be, we knew that we were always gonna be running so far into the red.
Or just scraping by to balance our budget with our
Just to balance
taxes,
our
with our
budget.
tax.
Yeah, really.
Right.
Something else we talked about doing accounting wise was breaking up. We never put our income from taxes in here.
Mhm.
Like we don't account for it in our
right.
cookbooks. So we
Right.
talked about taking that amount and dividing it monthly.
So you would have, then
putting it
it
in
would
so
be,
you really have
you
a clearer
would
view
have a
of what the
balanced
balance
budget every
is
month.
monthly. Right.
Yeah,
We only do that like when you guys see the reviews or
exactly.
Be interesting.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
So we're required by law to have a balanced budget. We have to have a balanced budget.
We can spend it all and just have $1.
You can spend under.
And then
They-
that would be,
they don't
that would
mind
be a
that.
great
Right, yeah.
appropriation of our tax funds. So like, as long as we have a beautiful facility and programs. Totally. I'm going to swimming after this.
I'm in a board meeting.
And there were just a couple of things that popped up in the CARPD thing, of the legislative update. Assembly Bill 735 may affect us. There's a couple of bond measures which are moving slowly through committees, and so worth keeping an eye on that and stuff like that. But mostly pretty small effect. We might be required to buy a defibrillator.
Oh, we have one.
Oh, we have one.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. We already made it. Anyway, it was interesting. Made some interesting reading. There are a few things that may affect us, and I'm always happy to see bonds relating to parks moving through the legislature.
That'd be nice if we could.
We have benefited from these in the past.
Again.
So,
3.1 billion in bonds
yeah.
for parks.
Yep. And then there's SB1 has some park-related stuff in that 52.4 billion, mostly for roads, but they had some other stuff in there too.
They could spend all that up here on Bear Creek Road. Canyon Creek.
Park.
That got. Did I see that repair got budgeted? The Bear Creek repair.
I didn't know the budget hearings this year.
Yeah. Okay. That's all I got. Thank you.
I have just back to the expenses. So our two portable services, ACE is was the outgoing one. And now we're with D&G, right?
We are with D&G right now, yes.
Okay.
And United Site was left over from before we went with ACE.
So ACE was the one where they got damaged, right? So that $903 is probably part of the
We paid
rental plus
$600
the
for, yeah.
replacing of the panels for those two. You know what sucks about it is like they were such an awesome company, and this has never happened to the extent that holes were cut in our porta potties, which always is a bummer because the porta potties are a huge issue with our parks. We have these companies that bring in porta potties, and some of them do a good job and some of them don't. And we pay a lot of money every month through the summer to do 3 cleanings a week. And so it's a bummer because that company had never really done parks before. They just did construction sites and private stuff. And so they actually had pretty nice porta potties, and their cleanings were spectacular. At least at Junction, we had three of them there, and so their cleanings were really good. They were a fair price, and we've never had vandalism to a porta potty to that extent where holes were cut in the side. And so they just basically said, you know, look, we don't want to do business with you anymore because we don't want the damage.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So now we're back to services that we've used before, which is mediocre at best and it's expensive. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just a bummer.
It is a bummer.
It's a bummer. It's one of those rare things because it's not like they cut holes in like for the past 10
Why
years.
didn't you hear that? Did you not hear the sawzall going into?
It looked like it was a torch or something because the plastic around it was melted, like sealed a little bit. Somebody
One of those, yeah, like a little, yeah.
A vape
Little-
pen or something like a,
could have vape pen have gotten that hot.
Right.
Maybe it's not on that, is that
That's why it's so good for you.
I don't know.
That's why it's
So-
unregulated.
So once again, it's the one person who's ruining it for everybody else.
It is the one person that's running it first.
Just like my mom used to tell me about. And I passed on to my kids.
Then the other question is the PG&E, is that just kind of like an accumulation?
say
or
that
is
again, sorry, the what?
PG&E? Like the PG&E and those type of bills?
it just
Is that
depends
kind of
on,
floating, like some months it'll look higher because of the timing of the bills?
yeah,
when they
but
come
now we
in?
have a lot more bills. Let me see what
I
ones
just,
are on
because the
there.
PG&E was like $891
So that's all our facilities. Here is about 500.
on its own.
Uh-huh.
So our PG&E jumped
Mhm.
by more than 50%. So-
So,
We average at the rec during this time of year about $325 a month. Junction's like $25. And then like 12 for Arbor Day because we don't really have power there.
we just have a connection.
We have a light.
With a light.
Yeah.
Hmm.
All right, so we gotta sell some more memberships.
Them pools ain't cheap. boy.
No.
It's the pump.
It's the pump.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's gotta stay on.
Pull.
It runs
It's
like,
pump
between 5 and 8 hours a day.
Okay.
And that's.
Circulate the water through the chlorinator machine. So
It's not,
and the
has
filters.
nothing to do with the heating, it's just the pump that's.
that's just a pump. It's not the heat. We don't have heat. We have the solar. So
What's
that
that
it
have?
pumps the
That's
water
part of
through.
the-
Oh, or something.
That's
But-
part of the whole system is the pump.
Mhm.
That's the-
It was like some sort of.
And we're starting to replace bulbs, like everything we can do that wasn't like, a cheaper light fixture.
And LED
So we're changing out those and
Mhm.
doing stuff. So we'll
But it's
see.
really-
I'm sure we'll get more of an average as we get into it, but
Oh, good times.
it was expected though, because we knew the pool would be in between cleanings and the pump. I mean, I was estimating it'd be about $3,000 a month to run the pool. Between chemicals, cleaning and
The expense.
the expense of the power. Yeah.
Heating and pump and all that. All right,
But I don't know.
But,
it's a beautiful.
it would be an
beautiful
interesting
pool.
thing to look into for solar too.
Mhm.
Because this facility may be something that, once it has a roof on it, could
Right.
accommodate like actual solar operations, whereas like we don't run enough power at the rec to
We should see if
accommodate that.
PG&E does like
Right,
some
this
kind
you
of,
could.
how they have those programs for homeowners of
Right.
certain kinds.
Mhm.
Should see if they have one for,
Private companies, solar companies too do.
I mean, even just to do LED replacement. I know that when I did.
They
some in my
did
home-
call, someone down the street is the person that does that
Oh,
for,
right on.
We should just ask.
you
I
know,
mean, or if there's some sort of like program, because I know that when I did LED in my home, switched everything out, it saves me about 30% now.
mhm,
Really?
It was huge.
Wow.
mhm.
It made it worthwhile buying those $25 light bulbs.
Right.
Mm.
So, I remember one of the conferences we were at, there was a whole seminar on, of course, on going solar.
Mhm.
Of course, it didn't apply to us at the time. I wonder if there's some program through CARPD
Mhm.
that does that in public facilities. I bet there are. I'm actually unsure, but I can like see in my head the.
Oh, this would be a great facility for it too, because we get so much sun.
Yeah.
And we got that big old roof.
And we need a new roof,
And
so
there's a-
that would be the time.
solar tiles for the tennis courts.
Perfect.
Solar.
See, perfect. A playing surface.
Just like kids, you could have treadmills kids run on and
Running on.
powers the.
That's a great idea.
Faster, just like a little Cheeto on a stick.
And you have to pay for your child to run on it. No.
Here's some gummy bears. Keep running.
The
Oh,
lights
man.
this month. are
We'll
brought
be
to you
famous.
by-
Oh, man.
That's definitely
Yeah, I anticipate utilities are going to be a little astounding to us for summer here. So, to be kind of expected, but yeah.
Any other board comment relating to the consent agenda? All in favor of approving the consent agenda?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Okay, so now we're on to board comments. Does any member of the board have a comment they'd like to share?
Yes. Friday was amazing. There were so many people here. It was blazing hot. It was like the happiest place in Boulder Creek at that moment in time. I know, I believe it. Okay. The kids are having fun at camp. It's nice to come here. It's a beautiful building, and I'm glad we did this.
Yeah, me too.
So I want to echo that as well. What was amazing to me, and by the way, the thread of texts afterwards was really lovely, all of you guys. I was going to jump in and I said, I might as well just say it at the meeting. It was striking to me how much it was the culmination of what we had been working for. And so to watch this come to fruition like that was tremendously rewarding. And all of the hours that that we all spent working on this. I mean, not that I spent hours working on it, but
All the calluses from wringing your hands over it?
That's right. Well, I think the mental stretching, the mental stretching and calisthenics entirely, But to see it being used in this highest and best way for the purpose for which it was intended really struck me. And I told you all this, I ran into this quote, it's actually by P.T. Barnum, but he said, the most noble profession is that of making others happy. And I really thought we did that, that was something that we did.
Our mission statement.
Yeah. So anyway, thank you all. Thanks for your participation in making it happen. It was a tremendous inspiration to be here on Friday and watch everybody having so much fun.
Yeah.
Was there a line for it?
Every day there's a line for it, adults and children.
Like, what other pool has a diving board?
What other pool has a diving board?
I know, I was thinking that we would have had to.
Not too many anymore.
Not have it, but it's fine, which is great. Because you're right, you can't build them now.
Right.
It's one of those things, which is what makes this facility so great. We have so much of that, you can't build that down here
Right.
that we can use.
Yeah.
Diving board. Just see the let's say the older people, like the adults going off the diving board, like, come on, it's awesome. Loved it. Cannonball, like, oh.
I had people coming in and go looking at it, you got a diving board,
No, it's great. It's certainly been, we've talked about hitting different demographics in our community. And it's been really interesting to see just the different community members. The radio station brought out a lot of new people because truthfully, the rec, for many years, everyone would say, oh, that's just for kids. And so I'm happy that at this point, I don't feel that's true at all.
That's not true.
We have a lot of offerings for adults and different, demographic at this point. So I'm excited that that's really, I feel like an actual rec district now. We've got a lot of different things going. I'm like, this is, anyway, it's really been quite interesting to watch. And it's been, people have been here I was worried, okay, how's this going to go? And people have been here every day. I mean, today was a big crew, and so happy to say people are,
Awesome.
as you all know, there's lots of conversation being had about it, but I think we will, we will persevere. So, I'm trying not to react to a lot of it quite yet, because I feel like,
It's 4
over
days.
time, it will like, you
Are
know,
you proud
have a
of me
little.
for being?
I am proud of you.
Stateswoman like?
Yes, yeah,
Because you know that my head is blowing up
Yeah.
at my house,
I
right?
know, I'm sure.
Is that the glow I saw in town?
Yeah, right, exactly. I thought it was a fire.
I thought it was
Yeah.
like Johnny's sign, extra bright or something.
It will be a huge learning curve, and we're bound to stumble. So anyway, congratulations to all of you. I think you took tremendous courage. So and on the part of the county as well. So well done.
As Director Fitzgerald said, I mean, we've opened to a higher expectation than we had on the board when we were contemplating this thing. We said, I wonder if the pool is going to be open the first year because it was such a huge undertaking. We've never operated this type of facility, a pool, anything. So, I mean, it's kudos to the manager and the staff for providing this space so quickly.
Yeah,
Awesome.
no, it's great.
We'll never get her done, Captain.
Yeah.
That's the
It'll
best
take
thing in the
years,
room,
Captain.
You know, the pump room, sweating. The only red shirt that survives. Did you have any board comments? No. So I went to the conference, and the conference was great. The one in May. I was really happy that we went, and we always get a big huzzah when we show up at the conference, which is so funny. They were like,
This
yeah.
is the Association of All California
Special districts,
Special Districts.
little rec districts, right? Well, we're
There's rec
everybody
districts,
else is
but
massive.
is it all special districts? So do you see
No, it's not like the
fire-
one where you go and there's the water
It's
people.
a CRPD.
Yes, it's
The
right.
rec districts.
So it's cool, and there's a lot of folks that are there forever. I mean, and
You
we're
can-
also kind of a younger set
Well, not me.
comparatively, yeah.
Not me. Most of those people are my contemporaries, and they
So
mostly
that's
look like
fun,
me
yes.
too.
And the classes were good. I mean, I think we all just went on one day.
Yeah.
And one of the guys was really stoked. I gave him all my drink tickets because I'm like, I live here. I'm leaving here. But
The ones who were left.
Yeah.
it was interesting to go to that social media thing because I really felt like we were sort of leaps and bounds beyond that. I mean, what they were teaching was really social media 101. It was really interesting to see a lot of these districts haven't really sort of jumped on the bandwagon and using that to get, the word out about stuff or just.
I think a lot have been fearful around like engaging on that level. Like people haven't used that as a
No,
medium.
and it's interesting. There's some in the Bay Area that are extremely successful at it, but so that was interesting. It wasn't a lot to learn, but it was more interesting to kind of hear that I felt like we were sort of ahead of the curve with the way.
For the size we are, yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
The food was great. Oh my gosh, that place really puts on a great spread for the Hotel Paradox. Holy moly, no dried chicken. I didn't get to network as much as I would have liked to, but because I wanted to go seek out other pool holders and whatnot. But I do recall some names of some folks that, like the lady who did there was a really funny workshop that we went to on hiring millennials.
She was great.
Yeah. And that was funny.
She gave me a lot of inspiration for here. I feel like that was
She
a
had
good
some really
thing
good
for me.
advice for dealing with that generation and the generations behind it that are actually, millennials are sort of aging out of being our workforce. I mean, to a certain extent, because I suspect we'll have a lot of younger folks now that we're doing the pool, the lifeguards and stuff. But it was super funny to listen to like the millennial haters that sit on these boards, and I'm like, you serve this population, and you're all just like, damn kids these days.
It was
Nobody
really
wants to
interesting.
take
Yeah.
accountability for nothing. It was just like, wow, I mean, you're a governing member of a governing board that serves this population, so it was interesting. But,
That struck me too. Was how little people. She was talking about building culture within your like communities and your workforce to engage each other and really like your jobs. Like actually create a good, sustainable.
She was from Henderson,
and
in Henderson they compete with casinos. So she's worked this program, this employment structure, such that they actually draw kids away from going to casinos where they get paid $20 an hour, as opposed to the rec that pays them like
$8.75.
$875. But there's like a whole lot of meaning attribution that they put into, this is, you know, because that generation wants to feel like the work that they do has meaning. It's not just, I'm a floor mopper or I'm whatever. I'm mopping floors for the good of the community. And just sort of tilting your spin like that is what really invigorates that workforce that we'll be employing a lot more of. And I think you do that a lot here. I mean, just in terms of, there's a definite team mentality I've noticed. So it was good though. It was definitely worth it, and I look forward to going to those again. The other thing that's always really funny too is those guys are all getting paid, man. And it's hilarious. I'm just like, come on, what are you bitching for? Like, come on, you're getting paid. Come on, come up to Boulder Creek. We do it for the love.
These are career people in these big districts, probably.
Totally.
Oh, yeah.
There's probably some that
Tell
are
them
drawing
our
benefits
budget,
out of
they're
that, and I'm just like, okay, whatever, you know, I mean,
They got their
that's
pensions.
not how we roll.
They got their calipers over there.
I think some of them, because some of these organizations are massive.
Yeah.
I mean,
Like the
just,
East Bay Regional Parks District.
well, even Henderson, I mean, their budget's unimaginable, and they have a multitude of managers and, you know, stuff like that, so. But I don't know, who needs that, right? I don't get it here, we're small town.
Yeah.
Right. So that was great. And then opening day. So opening day was awesome. And I came down and was going to help out there, but of course staff was there and they were cool. So I hung out there, but it wasn't a whole lot of help. Just kind of watched everybody. And I was really fearful, given the level of anticipation this community had, that we were going to get overrun. I was scared. I was like, oh, me too. I hope to God that, you know, it's orderly and, you know, cool. And it really was. And it was super, there were a lot of people here, but it didn't feel, I mean, you could really pack them in this place.
They're so.
It's amazing. It didn't feel crowded at all, but, you know, there's just families everywhere, and everybody was behaving themselves in the pool. You know, there was no, you kids get off my lawn for the older folks, because there was all the silly little kids. The Y did a great job with the lifeguarding. They did the swim test, made the kids wear wristbands based on their swim test results, like what level of monitoring they needed or what they could do. So that was great. And the other thing that was really cool was seeing the people who grew up in this community wax nostalgic, because they grew up here and they spent their childhoods in this pool. And I overheard a lot of conversations, or my Bo, he was just like, this is what it used to be like when I was a kid. And everybody was really cool about when the pool closed, and there was no sniveling or anything like that, because it closed.
There was no sniveling?
No sniveling. Everybody,
Wow.
you know, it was great, because, you know, I was like, oh, how's this going to play out? We're going to be open 2 hours beyond the pool being closed, because the lifeguards were only there for so long, but everyone was very, very cool about it. And so it was awesome. It was great. And I too felt like there was a whole lot of joy and happiness in the community. And so well done. And I'm amazed at the stuff that you're rolling out already. I mean, just what was getting swim lessons and stuff like that going. And I have had a lot of people, as I'm sure you have, say, oh, we want water aerobics, you know, that stuff. So I look forward to that. You know, I say in due time, you know, 4 days.
It was also nice to see Gretchen from County Parks here in the fall. That was awesome.
Oh, was she here?
Yeah.
I didn't see her. I was kind of flying the wall again.
Yeah, she attended, and then Gretchen and the new supervisor, maintenance supervisor for County Parks,
Oh, Eric,
Eric.
right?
Yeah,
That was his name,
right?
was it?
It was an
Or was it Carl? Sorry.
No, I think it's an Eric.
Jen, was there a Jen?
Yeah, he's the new
Head of maintenance,
head,
and
right.
they're
Exactly.
splitting it up. He and
Like,
Gretchen, I guess,
you can't
are.
do this here. You need to move that pipe.
So I walked him around. He was, you know, been working for state parks a long time. So, but he was a great guy. And
Cool.
yeah, he's not sure if they're splitting it, so he's not sure if we're part of their, you know, supervision or her. But
I get
They're
the
both
sense
here.
from the county that we're really just sort of like, you know, not on their radar at all.
we're not.
And that's great. 'cause
No,
that was
no,
really
it's
my
fine. I
focus.
just-
We all were so.
That was kind of holding us up a
excited.
little bit from planning in the beginning, was like, okay, we got to get this all okayed through them.
Uh-huh.
I think like the rates and all of that, obviously, like we wanted to be on, we're not printed on any of their stuff yet. So it's not a hurry, we'll say that. She said they'd like to maybe aim at this point for booking maybe those September dates, which is 2 days of September they get in their schedule.
We do need to keep pushing them to acknowledge that our district residents don't.
Yes,
get
she
non-residents.
did mention that to me.
Okay, because that was a
So-
huge.
And none of that's been shifted on their paperwork yet, so.
Right.
Yeah.
I know somebody called me on it because their schedule came out and had us listed as an exclusion, and as part of non-resident rates. And I said, no, it's just they're probably reusing the same template.
Yeah.
And just this is all ink is fresh and.
Mhm.
Waiting for Susan Moriel to leave so she doesn't go, what the hell deal did you make, Gaffney? So,
Nice story about her retirement in the paper.
yeah.
When does she actually leave?
She's done. Friday was her last day.
Wow.
That's a big deal, yeah.
So, that was great. I have a suggestion. You know me, I'm all about the snack shack, right?
Mhm.
I got a call today from one of my not kids that wanted me to drive up from work so that she could get some food. And I said, oh, go ask Callie. I know she's got a sandwich on her desk. But
Nice.
so I think that parents up here are really stoked about this whole membership concept.
Mhm.
And I think it would be good to have like a snack bar that has stuff that, like, not crap. Like I wouldn't want it to be the level of
Gummy
like
bears,
the
like I said
SLB
earlier.
pool, or not SLB pool, but like the SLB dances and stuff. Man, it's just like 15 boxes of candy bars and stuff. But things like veggie straws and maybe some. It's like chips and mineral waters and
Granola
that
bars,
kind of
maybe, or
stuff.
something.
Yeah, because these kids are
They need
eating
food.
freaking machines, and I'm experiencing that at home right now.
Mhm.
It's terrifying. And they're gonna come every day that we're open for this members fund stuff. And like today, I guess the girls forgot to bring the snacks that they had with them. The first day that we opened, everybody brought their own stuff because that was sort of the culture. I think up here is you brought your own stuff when you came to the pool. I think that we can make some money off of that too. I think I'm not into having bunches of garbage, but I do think that we should have some carbs and
Yeah, I
some
mean,
string cheeses or something.
hey,
I don't know.
when your whatever runs out, go get a granola bar. I totally
Yeah,
appreciate
and
that.
because that stuff isn't perishable necessarily. It is, but you can, you don't sell the chips. You put them back in the box and you sell them next day.
There is a fridge in there though, right?
Yeah, and maybe even a stretch to have like hot dogs. Like get one of those things that rolls. That you could put it on there or
Or
something.
crock pot.
A crock pot.
Yeah, crock pot is more.
Perfect. Just because that's
Actually, yeah. Yeah.
not completely unhealthy, but it'll give them a little bit of.
Nathan's all beef hot
Get the
dogs
Hebrew
and,
National, they're kosher, man. That stuff's supervised. So, I don't know, that would be my suggestion, just because I think what I'm hearing out there in the community is that people are so stoked that their kids have a place up here that they can go to and get in a few hours. And I'm glad to hear that you're seeing people using it, because I was kind of wondering if it was going to be like big and then taper.
Mhm.
So what are you thinking, like, about how many people roughly you think use the pool on those other couple of days?
On the rec days or
Yeah.
on? Oh, it was packed.
Today.
Both days?
Today it was packed. Yeah. We had camp here too, so that's
Right.
20
That's
kids.
great.
But it's yeah, people came for just swim today, and I think it's still fairly. We have not been super pushy with advertising.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. So
Right,
it's
'cause that's
like
the
it's
easy
only
way
the
to
in group that knows. It seems, people paying attention obviously would know, but I have not, gone out of my way to do a lot of advertising about it. So
That's good. Always initiative.
taking it a little slow to start. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was my 2 cents. Hot dogs, popcorn, lemonade was great.
Yeah.
Having water for them is great.
Yeah, I think,
Drinking
like you
water,
said, I think we would
water.
maybe try it with things that aren't perishable. Because
Yeah.
like we just wait, it's like, I know from town, like we waste a lot of food
Yeah.
when it's not, the other thing is people putting it away properly. Just the whole kit and
Yeah, I'm not
caboodle.
talking meal prep at all.
So it's like,
Because
you
then we
know,
also have health department
Right.
issues, but if we're just selling.
if it's prepackaged food, we won't have that problem, but yeah.
I was eyeballing at Costco on my run today, like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even the, and I don't know if it would really work here, because usually people come when it's hot, but they sell so much frickin' top ramen cups,
Uh-huh.
cup of noodles or whatever, at those school events. It's
Yeah,
crazy.
they do.
You're really gonna pay $2 for that? Okay.
That'd be old salt.
I know, I'm like, that's such bad food. Yeah.
I thought we were doing healthy, so. Annie's. top ramen.
But it has to sell.
Who was it who was pushing the idea of a food truck on weekend days? There was somebody who was talking to me about getting a food truck.
That food truck at the Felton Farmers Market, that was tacos.
Anyway, for the future.
Somebody in.
So anyways,
Then we
great
don't have
job.
to deal with.
And that was fun. And I'm glad that we're rolling. Anybody else? Okay, let's move on. Staff report.
Okay.
Oh, we got a couple of things first. Action
Oh.
on the consent agenda. Oh, no, we did that already. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Okay,
we did.
sorry.
Oh, I
We're
didn't- I
done.
didn't
Staff
think it was,
report. All right, we're good. Sorry.
What?
Do you remember who did the action on the consent
It
agenda?
was me and then Hamilton.
Sorry.
Second.
Yeah,
That sounds good.
Hamilton.
Did you say Easy Hamilton?
And B Hamilton.
Did B then Hamilton? Didn't know that name. All right.
Okay.
So, coming up the end of this month, downtown, we're refinishing the floors. Our annual bit, so the hall there will be closed the 31st through, not August 1st, I'm sorry, August 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, this should say. So that week, the programs are closed there. We will be open up here, obviously, so just that facility. And then we're putting in a new sink into the, used to call it the blue bathroom, but now they're both gray, so the
The upstairs?
the upstairs, they're both upstairs.
They're both
I know, right?
upstairs, the small and the
The-
big.
The small and the big?
Yeah,
Which one do you call the big?
the far one.
Okay, the far one.
Stage bathroom.
The stage bathroom, I like that. We're putting in a new sink in that spot. We talked a little bit about Bear Creek already up here, but, you know, our Crowd Rise campaign has obviously kind of petered out. I think we've hit a lot of those folks already. We are getting ready to do a mailing.
Mhm.
So that'll be kind of next step for that fundraising campaign. We've raised $15,000 just specifically for up here so far, which is, you know, not
When
too
is
horrible.
Bruce's?
So the date change, I just was going to put that in the event.
Okay.
So they are going to host a Founding Families event up here. I believe Bruce McPherson's hosting it. So we haven't dialed in all the details on what exactly that is going to entail financially, but I believe
Is that
their office is planning it mostly. I just need to get really clear on exactly what the fundraising is for. And then if that was intended for our loan payback, or if there was something he was hoping to do to fundraise within that event specifically. I think he was looking to find donors in the $500 and up range, so people would pay that to come. And then we would probably do a big ask of some of the people that he recommends and look for some larger donors for naming parts of the facility.
We just need a couple ones at 300,000. Good.
Yeah, I'll take just one would be great.
I won't be able to be here that
Okay.
night. I'm
That's
sorry
okay.
about that.
Well, do you have $500? No, I'm just
Well, I'm working on it. I heard your all we need is how many people with $500?
I know, right?
So I'm working on my 500.
So in October 21st is the date.
is the date they finally finalized. It was the 7th and it just changed to the 21st.
Yeah, so I won't be able to be there, so y'all will have to, if they want us to be here, they may not even want board presence.
Oh, no, I'm sure they would.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I won't be able to, so, sorry.
No, that's okay. So part of the mailer that we came up with, this isn't in color unfortunately, but it has a color-coded thing. It's like the front of, it's part of the front of the the mailing has like the loan payoff. Like a lot of people have been confused about
This is
what,
good.
what exactly we're doing for fundraising, like what that's about. So the little graph was like showing, okay, well, this is what we had for savings. This is a thank you, the gift from, the county, and then the loan that we're trying to pay off there. So a huge portion of that has already been gifted to the community. And so, I feel like this at least is something,
puts it
it's
in
normally
perspective.
colorful, but,
What we're
which
asking
is
for
nice.
puts it in
It
perspective.
does put it in perspective.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
more than half has been already paid off.
Right.
One thing I have, like we talked about, there has been, some complaints about fees or different things for the facility. A lot of what, I haven't really mentioned to a lot of people, but a lot of the other programs and things people are referencing either went through a bond measure or had like other monies that were donated, or there was something for the initial cost to the community for it to thrive. Here we're trying to run this facility off of the exact same budget that we currently run another facility in parks. And so the membership is rooted in not losing money. We probably won't be gaining a lot of revenue by running these memberships, but we hope to break even so that we're offering things up here. But I think as we start to see in the next few months of finances, like we'll probably break even on running what we're running up here, which is always our goal. It's not going to be part of our fundraising, no. So we're not going to make money off of what we're doing up here currently, as far as, swim.
Oh,
I
I
think
see what you're
parties
saying.
and
Yes,
things
makes
like,
sense. Right.
so I think a lot of people have been confused, like, we're charging so much for memberships because we're trying to raise these funds.
Oh,
Right,
I see.
no.
And I'm
separate.
saying like, no, that's so that we
The
can pay
lifeguards.
to run here.
Right.
Yeah.
That's your operating budget.
That's our operating budget because we have there was no grant, there was no,
Right.
nothing's paying for the
Right.
facility to,
Right. Same
It's
amount of
creation.
income, much bigger facility.
yes,
Right.
yeah. So I think once people get a little more of a picture of how much money, what we run all of those things off of and everything, it's a little clearer to people, but, I'm fairly certain like that will become clearer as we get rolling a little bit more and people start to see where we're at with our fundraising. And we're essentially a year away from going out to get a conventional loan. So we have $100,000 left over in our equity and pooled cash. And then we owe $365 in a lump sum, in November of, not this November, but the next one.
2019.
Yeah. So either, I anticipate if we don't find a donor, like the donor, obviously those funds would most likely go towards that, so we don't incur finance charges, for a loan. But right now, most of what we're saving, we're going to spend on AEDs and boards and, just to have the basics up here. So most of what we're fundraising for right now will probably just accommodate, we won't be putting a lot into the savings account. We'll probably use most of it to do basic upgrades and things needed for here. So we were able to, our pool permit and all of that is good through October of this year. So our normal season up here for the pool would May through October. That's a seasonal spa and pool. Still trying to sort of figure out how much we want to run the spa. It seems a little silly to turn on a hot tub when it's 100 degrees out.
I know, I did my
So we did
toe.
run it the other day just to make sure it ran for enough hours, but it doesn't appear to be something you want to have on all the time, but also takes 3 to 4 hours to warm up. So it's a little, I don't know how much we'll be running it. It might be just for special events or things like that. And then there is, so people have been asking, most of the questions have been membership, questions, of course, and then just what access and when it's available.
Yes.
So when people are here and we're open, I'm happy to let somebody in the gym. I'm not selling gym memberships because there's 6 pieces of equipment someone can use. So it's not adequate for like selling as a gym membership to the community. But if someone is here and they paid, I'm happy to let them use the items. And same essentially with any of the back courts is what we're using as like the free tennis courts. These are for the membership courts at this point. We do give out the basketballs and stuff so people can exit and play basketball during swim. So pretty much everything here is open. The picnic areas people can go to.
The awesome attraction is the parking lot for scooters and skateboards. It was like that when I was growing up.
Yeah.
too.
Well, when we first came here, there was families down here doing that, and so
Just run
people were like
around.
running off, and I'm like, it's fine. It's a flat spot. Those are really hard to find in Boulder Creek to teach your kid how to bike ride. So I anticipate that being something. I know kids are coming in. We have come up with a bit of a plan for the pool. Exterior. The front wall is mostly our biggest issue because the fence is fairly low in comparison to the ground because the parking lot is up higher than on this slope. So we are removing the bike rack and then putting in one line of barbed wire at the top of just this side, just to deter jumpers. And
Can we put lattice just to make it higher?
yeah,
I mean, lattice can be cheesy, but bob wires.
I know it's like
The
one.
kids can do the blast.
One like probably runs up. that
Just
high
one,
on
really,
top,
a little
to make
bit,
it
just so
harder.
yeah.
Right.
I think, they're climbing on top of the bike rack. Any adult could jump this fence or any kid. I mean, it's not, high security. There's a motion detector light that comes on at night on both sides. And then once we have our internet service, then we'll have the Nest, that security system will be running. So then I can yell at people from my house on it. Please exit the pool area.
We were talking about us getting a pool alarm, and my fear with that
Oh,
is
no.
that would suck because
It
if a
would.
raccoon or something came through, that thing's
Yeah.
gonna go off until somebody shows up.
Because the birds like fly, the swallows like come through here every evening.
Because
Yeah.
it could take a while, and I would be
Mhm.
mad if I lived next door and
Yeah.
this thing wouldn't shut up. And then it wasn't,
Yeah.
it was a blue jay.
Yeah,
Like,
yep. So our lift came in for the pool.
Oh, great, wonderful.
Kevin Foster is helping us get it dialed in. There's just one permit that we had to get from the county. And most likely will be on the far side of the pool near the stairs.
Is it just brackets and then we roll it out if we need to use it?
It's not, we decided to go with one that's bolted in. The mobile one is more expensive, and the one complaint about it was people were pushing them into the pool because it doesn't have a way to lock the base unless you chain it to something, but then
right.
even during
If you bark
open
on it.
hours, and it's larger, just as a thing to take up here. So it will be next to the pool all the time, but I think
I hope it gets used.
in a lot of, so we have had 2 phone calls, and I let people know that if they are interested, just to let me know when they're coming up. Like, our lifeguards are trained to help assist people into the pool, but if they felt more comfortable that our lift would be in by the 1st of August, so if they'd like to come up, then it'll be in.
That is
So,
cool.
yeah.
I'm not worried
Yeah.
about this, that it's a common feature on every pool
It is,
now.
and I
Any
think once,
hotel,
I don't
any
even think
motel.
you'll
Diving
notice
board.
it once it's in, and it actually will make a good, I think, second location for a guard to be near. Then kids would probably not play on it. That was my only concern, was like people playing around with it.
Cover them when you see
It does
them
have a
at-
cover, yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it makes it to be where it's not climbing.
yeah. Just because I know from the rec hall one, it gets so,
Well, that one looks
damaged
like
with-
an elevator.
yeah. Yeah, it's
That's
just,
the thing,
it's
yeah.
hard to keep, kids off, so I don't want it to get, or people, using it as a tool to get in the pool, like,
That's great.
yeah, so that is, exciting. We had, a fair amount of donations came in, like, just to support that, and so that was nice to, like, target people by, like, this is the equipment we're trying to buy, and I think it's still a little unclear to people. I wish the Crowd Rise had a way to, like, say this many people have given to this, or, you know, really point out what people are gifting towards, because I know that's often important to people, what they're giving their money for specifically, but, you know, it's a start, and I think more and more people are starting to just donate with a check, so, you know, that's fine too.
So, this, the 500,000 we got equity and pooled cash.
Mhm.
What year did we get that money donated from the?
Sorry, what was the question, Diane?
97?
97?
Johnson request was
I'm
90.
sorry, I don't know.
Ish,
I should know.
mid-nineties?
I should know.
Is that
Mid-90s.
right?
Mid-90s.
I believe,
I
yeah,
should
I'm
know.
pretty sure it's 97, because we were talking about making a little.
I could tell you it was before I was on the board, so, which would be in the 1990s. I've spent almost the entire 2000s on the board.
Not here. So is that part of our kind of our story? Because I think to explain how that came about and the museum got the other half of that money.
Yeah, basically they donated their house.
They did.
To both of us, the
Yep.
museum and to the rec district, and so they sold the house. We sold the house and split the proceeds. I think we ended up getting about $325,000 out of that sale.
Wow, back
So-
then that was a nice house.
So what amazes
Tough.
me is through years of tight-fistedness and belt tightening, because you know that the interest that we get from the county is nominal at best. We turned that 325 into the 515 or whatever it was that we had at the time and that's.
I think that's
So
an
we did
interesting
not
story for
only
people.
not spend the principal,
Yeah.
we also banked the interest as well. And this is boards right on along. I mean, this is 20, 30 years of boards doing this, you know.
Yeah. I
Right.
think that's a really interesting thing that people should know about that happened. I think that's an interesting part of the story, and it may open up some ideas on how they can.
I think I recall
Make it
reading
happen.
some stuff somewhere that the sisters wanted the money to really go to the organization for the provision of facilities. So we did it.
Yeah.
We spent it like we should have.
Obviously, we have not raised the money needed to put in a new roof here. So before winter, this next coming winter, we're at least going to look to patch parts that we know were an issue this past year. I don't anticipate, I think the other issue we're going to come into is, this is a large roof project, and people are going to want to use this facility and the times that it's good to do a roofing project. So I anticipate we'll most likely do it in stages, even though I know it's a little bit of a bother. I just think by next, spring, summer is when we may or may not be looking to do a project like that, and people are going to want to use the facility. So it'll be interesting to time how these bigger projects are going to go on up here, because I know people are, it's going to hit at the time, our biggest months here are going to be June, July, August, I would say, and then probably a late fall project is what we're going to be looking at, but that's also going to coincide with our payback for our loan. So at some point we should sit and have a real discussion on how we want to lay out that funding and see where we're at. I think after the Founding Families event, I think we'll have a better picture of are we going to really
Like a come to Jesus meeting.
are we going to really do, or are we diligently, are we going to be aggressive enough to go after a donor, or is that going to kind of take
We need
the
to
back
figure something
burner, and that really we're looking for a loan? Obviously I'd love to find a donor, but I don't feel I have the time to dedicate what's needed probably to really go after finding those people. And obviously I'm very vocal about that with people and what we need. And sometimes that brings about something, but I think it's also going to have to be someone that knows how to target that kind of money. So, we are still obviously looking for even paying someone to do that kind of work, but it hasn't come through that way yet. So, the foundation was really serious about putting some of the money raised towards funding somebody that knows how to fundraise. So, the other projects, there's some drainage issues that need to be done to the side of the clubhouse here. we're still planning to tear out the fencing around I'm calling that the third court, the court that's closest to us.
The funky one.
The funky one, yeah. So even if we don't do much with the actual flat court yet, I'd like to get the fencing part out. It's kind of half of it's already ruined, so it'd be good just to get it torn out. Also, the other bit
Are
of
you
things.
looking for work parties to do that, or? What
Yeah, I've got to find one main somebody that really knows
how to
construction.
disassemble,
Yes.
'cause they're
I mean,
all,
probably like tractor, it's going to be somebody with some machinery all of that can get cut. Metal cutters can slice all those, holes, but those fences are 12 feet tall, and somebody with a backhoe or bulldozer, something to really smush it up, and then it might even be worth getting a metal bin up here to push it into. So if you know.
Yeah, that's not a bring your kids to.
It's not a bring your kids thing, yeah.
We should ask Mark Bingham.
Oh, I know him. Okay. That's a good one. I didn't think of him. The other thing that's, obviously not another children's project, but the poison oak in the back part of the property, like we tried to hike, it's basically unhikeable right now to go back in there. So I really was considering goats.
It was a great year for poison oak.
Yeah.
They really appreciated the winter. The stuff around our house is going nuts.
Yeah.
But what about those? They're huge, right? Like it's forest.
Well, if they can just get the leaves down, then we could actually.
Then you can actually cut. It's just you don't want to send people in there.
Because it's so leafy.
Right.
So is there somebody who manages the goats?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, so
Yeah.
you hire somebody.
You hire somebody that brings in their herd.
Goats will eat poison oak, but
They
they'll
will.
eat everything else first.
Yeah. But it's 90% poison oak in a lot of that area right now.
Yeah.
Mhm. After the winter, it was.
I can't believe.
Bring on the goats.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's the plan. I think it's the easiest thing
No,
to
it's
do
a
for us,
great
yeah.
idea.
There's plenty of other areas to maintain and such for volunteers, but that area would be wonderful to start working on, but
Kids
it's
don't
just
touch
not,
the goats.
it's not something you're gonna send most people back there for. We had a great July 4th. I know some of you were able to attend down there. Good success. We raised approximately $3,000, and that was the vendors that came, their beer, wine sales, and then the Panning for Gold donations. It continues to just be it's a great event. I remember that being the first and only real event that I remember the district having when I first came on. Like that was the big thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And so it's been wonderful. I really enjoy working with not doing the food service because now
I was just thinking that, I remember. sleeping over
makes
there.
cleanup a lot easier. Anyway, it's still it's a fun day in Boulder Creek. So yeah, it was a big turnout.
Thank you to the volunteers, especially yourself and other volunteers.
Yeah, I think the
They were
Leslie
few
and
far
Matt
between, but
crew has been really.
Leslie and Matt really
Yep.
helped to clean up. They helped set up in the morning, and they were there till the end. So.
Yeah, they're kind of the big
Volunteers of the year.
taking on the
Sword.
bit of the doing the alcohol service and stuff off of me because a lot of although our foundation is willing to take on getting the license and doing all that part, a lot of them are not always able to come to these. So I'm happy some people are interested in that kind of thing, and it's some people's thing, so.
Well, I felt so guilty for missing it this year that I vowed not to miss it next year. So
That you just for memory's sake, you got close.
Well,
to
I'll
the
miss it
fire
next year,
room.
and then you can take my fun.
I was gonna say that's another one of our events that really helps to see our whole community.
No, it's great.
Demographic. All
Yeah.
demographics of our community are down there. We've got music and just the beach at one point was insane.
Mhm.
The Panning for Gold. It was just cool having the easy ups on the beach. It made it look like if there was a table service down there
Yeah.
or something, somebody was selling some fruit or something, like Mexico.
I know,
Brady.
yeah, it's getting to that point.
It was just cool. There was that whole area. Then there was up on the lawn where people were paying attention to music and some people weren't. And there was it was just awesome.
Yeah. It's great because I'd never really anticipated that park being able to accommodate that kind of an event, but it's just really smooth. Like now people are, this weekend somebody's renting it for their own thing like that, you know, so it's catching on as a place to do stuff.
Did you ever hear from the camera people?
No.
Really?
Yeah, so that's the same, I mean, that's the same thing they've
'Cause
done
we
the
gotta get that
last
space
3 times.
replaced,
Yeah.
Just because with all that
Yeah.
vandalism, we would have totally nailed
I
whoever
know.
it was that did that, because,
Yeah, and this is like the 3rd thing now that's
yeah.
a bummer,
it's just-
yeah.
So, although Chuck said that if you let him in there, he might be able to figure out how to make it work, because he does all that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Because I'm
Yeah.
assuming that it's a disconnect between the system and the district.
Yeah, there's no lights on the systems anymore, like it's the whole, you know, what are they called? Not satellites, but yeah, the two, you know, it's a system that,
He thinks he
connects
might
to
be
the
able
other
to
one.
make it talk, so.
okay.
I just didn't want to bug you about it right
Oh,
now.
no, I mean,
Been busy.
Anytime, I'd love to, I'd love to get it working. It was a big thing to put in, and
We need
it's
to.
probably something small to get it fixed. Like, I don't think it's
Yeah,
just, you know.
he said we call it.
Yeah.
So.
And he will
And
volunteer.
it's free.
Perfect.
Volunteer.
Exactly.
Great.
We love that. We need to call somebody to replace the light above where behind the wall. That one's
It's
light.
the PG&E light or ours?
Not the PG&E light, our light. I think
Okay.
Probably the bulb is burning out. The one
Okay.
that's behind the wall, you know, where the porta
Yeah,
potty used to
yeah,
be.
that's us. So
Yeah, so we need to replace that one, and then also we need to think about doing some, I really think that we, for the future, need to have some sort of lighting down there.
yeah,
It's super dark down there, the sheriffs have talked to us about that before too, and making patrols a lot easier, you know, the park closes at sunset, and it's really become a destination for people to come in the evening, which is fine. But when there's loud and disruptive people, then it's not fair for the neighbors that live there. And I think that the lighting, at least, you know, if there's some at the
Yeah.
back end of the park.
Like 6, 7 months ago, maybe 8 months ago, I was contacted by the lady who lives directly across from the park, who wanted to deed that slice of land to us. And I told her I was trying to go down the rabbit hole right now with this facility thing. So, you know, it was
Which
like,
slice?
the one that's directly across, there's some lady owns a piece of property that,
The house on
I think where Brooke Swing is.
oh, Janet. Oh.
So I told her I'd, you know, eventually get back to her. I haven't done that, but
Okay.
she was not in
No,
a
I
big
know.
hurry. But you know, I think from her perspective, it's worthless to her, and it's a liability as a
Right.
property owner. But she'd be happy to give it to us for free. So we might want to look at that and
Okay.
put a spotlight and shine it back at our park.
Well, that would light up the beach.
It depends on how high you put it.
Yeah.
You know, something to look
But,
at.
you know, you can't, I mean, we would just have, we'd have to, that's a great idea.
It's gonna get
It's a
better.
great idea. We would just have to be careful, like, that obviously be respectful of the neighbor that
The other
shares
one.
the fence.
Right.
Yeah.
But at any
National
rate,
Park.
I forgot to mention that. I'll try and find her email. She randomly just, I don't know if she sent me a Facebook message or an email, but she just reached out and said, whenever you guys are ready to talk about it, I'm ready to deed this slice to you.
Okay.
Be nice to have classic, like, black, just pretty park lights.
Yeah, that would be
on there.
awesome.
I mean, it'd be,
We should see what
I mean,
the ones downtown ran. Just one of those at the base of the park.
weren't they some of the ones on River Street?
Oh, geez,
No.
those ugly ass ones, right? They got their tail
You're
on
talking
it.
about like what you have in your yard?
Yeah, something
Yeah.
like that, something kind of.
Yeah, those aren't expensive. It's just the power running
Oh,
power
when I
down
went there
there.
and saw that. They also broke that thing, that
Mhm.
stone.
With the plaque on it,
Yeah, you know the plaque for the
park dude.
custodian that we had that passed away on time or whatever. Somebody's are always on a mission to vandalize that thing, and it's
Mhm.
broken. And I don't know if it was in the same time that they were doing the spray painting,
Hmm. Hmm. Wonderful.
So anyways, it would be a good thing to think about.
Yeah.
I saw that you had the 220 put in there.
Yeah,
That's-
which didn't
yeah.
work, and it was a pretty penny. So we got to figure out that situation. Something about it was turning off every time they ran their sound. So anyway, the electrician's gonna come Saturday and see why it would be tripping. I mean, it's gonna be somebody else using the power, so
Yeah.
could have been his equipment, or I wasn't sure. I mean, those spider boxes are used at all events, so I'm not sure what about it could be tripping, but they said something was turning itself off
Was
when
that
they ran
Eric's
enough
sound
power.
system? Yeah. His is pretty solid, his sound
Uh-huh.
system. So it's gotta be something, we think, on our
Yeah.
end, yeah.
Um,
But just to think about getting electricity run at some point.
right, I
Yeah.
know. The next event down there is August 5th. KBCZ is having their own music festival down there.
The
It's
first
from
ever.
12 to 5. So come on down for that. I'm sure they're gonna need some helpers and stuff, but I'm not really involved in the event.
Wow.
So I'm not sure I have, I'm just following what they tell me to do. And then, yeah, the 220 volt. So part of the idea there was we were gonna take out the other ones so that people couldn't plug in, because they just break the box every time we put a new lock on it. And very few people have a 240, like
Right.
220 is, right? Volt meter thing, to put in there. So I think that might be a better option eventually, but for now it's a backup since our other one wasn't working. But it also limits who can use the power, so they'd have to have our adapter if they were going to be renting it or something. Visitor Center in the studio space. They're almost done with the recreation guide. We're basically at the point of selling the last of the ads for that, and it'll be an annual print. So whenever we come out with it, it'll up again the next year. So far, it seems like people, they've been able to sell a fair amount of the ad space. So whatever we don't fill by the end of this month, we'll probably just put in with our program information and then do a print so we can get that out.
How much are the ads?
It depends on the size. It's like there's 125
Business card?
up to like 300,
Okay.
in that range. So I think at this point, to fill them all, like they'd be willing to,
Right.
like switch sizes or accommodate what is needed. So,
Okay.
and then if you haven't been listening, there's live shows Monday through Friday, 4 to 6 still. So I don't always remember to tune in, but it's it's nice when I'm driving home. I only listen to Brian's show, to be honest. Now that he's retiring.
Nice.
Are you retiring?
For a little while, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, there's a certain song that goes with the beer you drink.
Right.
And food.
And food. Come on. Upcoming events and such. Like I said, the Founding Families one is October 21st, if you don't have plans already. We'll run sports camp up here next week. We have, I think, 30 kids signed up thus far, so that'll be a nice big group for us. The fire training camp is the following week, so that's the last week of July. Yes. This one, yes.
That's not here though.
That one's no, it's not here.
They were like, oh.
I know.
Nobody will.
Yeah. And then last hurrah camp will be here, so we'll do that one the week before school starts, which is, no one else runs a camp,
Can I
so we
send
usually
teenagers to
get,
that?
yeah, it's all ages.
Get that treadmill, get the solar panel.
Like I said, the August 5th event down at Junction Park, flea market on the 22nd, and Harvest Festival, if you want to mark on your calendar now, 30th of September. And we'll have both locations going again this year. And I think that's probably all I have. If you wanted to kind of get a feel for what we're doing for this pool schedule up here, like I said, by next month, I think we'll have it all down. So there's been things I didn't think about as far as signups. We will be doing July, August, September, October. However, September, October, the hours will change because school's back in session. So we'll most likely be doing more of the Tuesday, Thursday schedule during the week so that we can have staff. The The one thing I would say I came up against just a few, like a single parent and their child, or, so we're making little arrangements as we go here to figure out how to accommodate everybody's needs there. Not everyone, of course, fits into the categories. Another thing about the tennis is that like people can have access to tennis all year round. The rates for pool and tennis are just for those months, and then you would either continue to pay your $20 a month for tennis or just not do it. So some people were confused by like, can I do one or the other? Why would I do pool and tennis if I just could do tennis only and add the pool?
I know people are doing
So
all this
any of
crazy
those
math
kind of
about
like
it.
combinations, I'm
And
like,
it's
you
like,
could do that, but this is the way we're doing it because it adds up to being the same. Like you're not gonna, you can either do, it's a cheaper option to do your tennis only for the year if you know you're gonna do that all year, and then add in a month or two of the pool if that's what you're interested in during those months.
They're still coming, that tennis group still comes?
There are tennis people still, coming. So the members that were still attending are going. We've added, I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 more tennis members.
Cool.
And then, like I said, I think more people are starting to hear about it, so I'm sure that will grow a bit. On the weekends in the morning, it's full usually. Like there's enough players, so people are starting to use the bottom back court now, which we were talking about turning into a pickleball court. So we'll kind of see how that. I know there's a lot of pickleball fans. I haven't played it myself yet, but a lot of people have come with interest to play. So the other thing, I would say, other than what we've talked about as far as just chatter around what's going on up here, obviously we've had a few neighbors come through concerned about the parking on the street, which was something that we did talk about trying to be careful about.
Has
I
there been
think-
parking on the street any day other than Friday?
No,
Okay.
Well, you mean on their side of the street?
no, on our side.
That's our, that's,
County.
I'm just asking. I'm just asking. I was just saying.
So I wrote in on our pool rules, something just to the effect of, please ask guests to park in our parking lot. The areas that if I know it's a large party, I would have staff park back here. And then we need to kind of chalk the gravel area or something because people don't understand how to park in there.
Right?
And so, that became on Friday, that was an awareness. I thought, somebody just parked in the entrance of it.
right.
And so I asked them to park in there. So, there's a number of things like that I feel we can do. Carpooling is advised for large parties.
How many cars can you go over there?
We fit 10 in there on the KBCZ thing.
Wow.
Nice.
So, I mean, you wouldn't be able to really leave. So it's like good for staff and like the person that's holding the party,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. I have considered at least writing the people that are very concerned about it, that it's not really a rec district matter as to what happens on the road. I'm not allowed to put up
It's a public.
posts and things that say no parking in that section. It's not actually our road to put that on. But obviously, like a notation to members saying like, it is something to be aware
Please
of,
park
that
here
it's,
first.
that people should be mindful of that. So I promised them I would mention it, and obviously I'm sure it's something that they, would like a different answer to, but
So
I
the-
was going to advise that if it is something they are concerned about, that it actually is a county matter because it's a county
Well,
road
and
for
it's
us.
also fire too. I mean, we can't put, even if we could put poles in it, the fire department wouldn't let us because they don't like people to mess with the roads. That's why those roads probably don't have speed bumps.
Mhm.
Because I had thought about maybe putting calming devices if things came to the point where it was a disturbance to the neighborhood, it would be worthwhile to look into a calming device, like a swell or whatever.
Mhm.
And they said no.
Well, just
No,
that
no,
bridge
no.
is concrete.
Because it's a fire truck thing. You'd
Mhm.
way rather have a fire truck able to get down here than slow down a few a-holes. So,
Well, it'd be good to direct the people that are concerned to the right agency that has jurisdiction over it, because they're not getting the answers from us, and that's not
It's just
that's not
unfortunate.
satisfying them.
It's unfortunate that this place wound down for the period of time that it did, and there's a generation of homeowners here that don't know what this place was like, because one of these folks that was telling me how great it was to see this place like it was before, said that when they used to have events and things here, the cars would be parked on this side of the street from the corner all the way down to that, and I just can't even imagine that.
Cul-de-sac too, yeah.
Right, it like,
Right there, right, yeah.
so,
I did walk up and take a picture, just to get an idea of
You look back.
what it did look like. I know that they had put in the boulders up there as a deterrent to people parking there,
Who had
past owners.
customers?
Yeah, because obviously anytime you get people parking, it's going to also create erosion. So that all that gravel area
Right.
needed continuous renewal, which it gets costly. So those boulders were put in as a deterrent to people to park like all the way on
Gotcha.
the ledge, if you want to call it, but the pullout. Like there's quite a bit of land there if those boulders aren't there to park in. So I certainly will continue to hear them and put out, I mean, maybe even just some signage at our entrance saying, please fill up our lot and look to the side lots for extra parking.
And the people that are complaining, I mean, I think it'd be super useful, since you're not giving them the answer that they want, to at least have some sort of a direction that they could go, like, this is county road, so you can contact McPherson's office or Public Works, or, you know what I mean? If there was
the
something that was,
downside to that though is for those neighbors who have put things like boulders in turnouts. I have a friend that lives on Glen Arbor, and she has a circular driveway that's on both sides of Glen Arbor, right by a stop sign. And a lot of times people would pull through
Use
or
that,
do whatever,
yeah.
so they put boulders up, and the county made them remove them, even though it was on their private land, because there's some theory of
Like
expectation.
the right away or,
Right, and you create a hazard by putting stuff in a right of way, basically, even if it is part of your deed. I mean, in that instance, it was awful, but anytime you go talking to the county, there's a whole plethora of unintended consequences, so that's something to keep in mind. Maybe contact the supervisor and not the Public Works Department directly.
Okay. So yeah, that was just one bit I thought I would bring up. But I would say other than that, we've had quite a few members in the surrounding, or people join up as members in the neighborhood, so a lot of people are
I saw Mary
excited.
Beth here.
She's been here every day.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so,
I think she's stoked that it's like.
oh, it's
being
just
used and
wonderful.
She's not
Yeah.
doing full maintenance anymore.
Yeah,
She probably twitched to check something. She walks away like.
yeah, no, I saw her put all the chairs, perfectly back at the table, and, it's really sweet. So I feel like it's a really nice feeling, because I can tell she's really happy to see, I moved everything in her office, and I didn't get the feeling like, what did you do? It was just, there was a nice, like, oh, wonderful, you've moved in, and yeah, so, yeah, it's really good.
It was nice to see her out here on Friday.
Yeah.
That's really lovely.
And she's a wonderful swimmer and diver, and it's encouraging.
And she,
Make a note.
I know.
I had a question about the alcohol permits, for the prices that we are charging for the permits. Are we providing the permits?
So those
do
are like
they
our
do-
ordinance, those are not selling permits.
Right.
Right, so those are what we pass in our ordinance.
Got it.
For property
Okay.
permits.
Got it. These are for private parties.
It's for private parties.
Right, got it. Okay.
So county they do $200 to $400 permits for weddings. So for alcohol for theirs. So we're a little bit cheaper than that, but it was, something, because obviously there's a lot more liability for
Right.
us, and essentially people are buying the added insurance
Right.
for
Right.
us, like that's.
I appreciate that. I think it's absolutely necessary. What I was wondering was whether these were ABC permits.
No,
and
so they're not for
Right. Yeah.
selling
Okay.
alcohol, yeah. Which someone could do if they wanted to throw an event.
Right.
Just like they would at our parks, but then we have to sign off on them because we're the property
Right.
owner.
So
yeah.
they would procure
They
the
would-
permit,
yeah.
show it to us.
Yeah, we have
pay
to sign it
whatever-
actually.
Pay whatever we
Right.
would, right,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
Oh. Yeah.
Well, I must say, I'm so, and I think several other directors mentioned this before as well, I'm so pleased that there's so much going on out here. I mean, it was a bit of a surprise.
Yeah, me too.
You know, to see, well, I shouldn't have been surprised because it was you know.
No,
but-
I think we got going on it. Like I said, it was a little, part of it, I think people don't have, every time you add something new, you add like 10 more issues that come up, you know, whether it's, you know, just new staff, new rules, new operations.
Right.
And I've already, you know, day 1 or 2, where are they correcting things on there? Like, it's just, that's gonna happen, you know. We don't have everything we need up here, not everything's set up, you know. But I did feel like, you know, if we're gonna do this 3 times a week, the membership idea was what really, actually one of the neighbors brought it up as a way to maybe do some more work, have something work up here. And when I started looking at it financially, I realized, you know, I think this could work, and then it is hard to hire people for 2 days a week or 3 days, you know, so I thought, you know, this gives us a little more of ability to have a staff that have a little more of a constant schedule, which is better for everyone. That's something we've struggled with also in town, is that we have a lot of employees working like 2 days a week, which is hard on the team. And so it's trying to...
It's easier to have more days.
It's easier to have the same people working every day. Yeah. For clarity on everything, and you know, so, and that's, you know, going to be something that we struggle with here too. I know it's just, you know, we can't offer everyone even 20 hours a week, so it's, you know, has to fit into little pockets for people. But yeah, I think, you know, so far it seems like it's working well. So
You know,
yeah.
It occurs to me now we finally have a series of programs that we could really utilize that Martin Martin scholarship for. You know, before it was really hard. I mean, my understanding is that whole scholarship fund was set up to assist people who don't have means to attend programs. And I know we haven't really used it a lot, if at all. But, and we're fundraising for the bigger thing, but sometimes, you know, people have money that they will give to certain things. And there are, like, a lot of single moms or single dads, and the prices are a lot for somebody who doesn't have a lot. So maybe it's time to think about reviving that and sort of putting it out on the table when we have our events. Like, here's this specific thing that you can donate to offset the cost of school participation, or, you know, like a membership thing or something. Not even in whole, but just to say, it would really help out a single parent to only have to pay $25 a month instead of $50 if it was done with a kid. You know what I mean? And then it spreads it out on the farm. So I wonder if there's a way that we can transfer that to the foundation so it's tax deductible.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And then just kind of...
There's a lot of districts that run their whole programs off of their foundations for that reason.
It might just
I don't want to do that, but
I mean, nobody has the time to really actively go after it, but I mean, I can think about putting together some verbiage or whatever, just to have, you know, one of those little standing signs in front of a mason jar.
the other thing we might be, so we applied for the Cal 8 funding for students for our after school program and got accepted for the county. So now people can go apply there and we get paid through the county funding. So I'm assuming like our programs up here would also...
Oh, that's fantastic.
You know, so that's another thing. Once that gets rolling, it's, you know, going to start in the fall, but then we'll have this other source where we could still get funding, but it would go through, you know, then they do all the paper. They'd have to go down there. They do all the paperwork and they have to apply, but then it's a system where, you know, there's so money happening on one end, and funding. So I'm not even sure what that program runs through.
Simpkins does, if they have any kind, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know
I
either.
don't think they have any kind of hardship, whatever, but.
Yeah.
It was just a thought, that $100 is probably up to 105 now,
Whew.
with the interest on the Liberty Bank.
After 20 years.
Okay,
Yeah.
so, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Moving on to new business, this is, action discussion, accept resolution 317 to approve the fiscal year 2017-18.
So some of the pages did not get in here. Did all yours get in?
I think so. I've got these ones. I've got 4 of these.
We're missing.
And then I've got the 2 of these.
I don't have the resolution, doesn't really matter, it's the same one we see every year.
But you have you have 3 pages from the county and then 2.
I have your
From ours?
Are there only
and
2
then
of
have
these?
some,
I've got 4
Yes.
pages from the county. Oh, 2 of them are the same. No, they're not either.
All right.
since we have members of the public here, yay! You may not be familiar with how this goes. This is what is considered our budget hearings. And our policy and procedure manual requires that we hold budget hearings
Yeah,
over
here.
a period of 2 months and advertise in
Can you
the
get
paper.
me
So
some
anybody
water,
who wants to come
please?
take a look and
Yeah.
give testimony about anything in it
The GM
has the
one.
opportunity to do so over a
Awesome.
period of a couple months instead of just a slam dunk. And so this is what we consider the first read, where we kind of look at everything and ask any questions, make any modifications. The second read, so from this meeting, there'll be an ad in the paper to invite people to August. And August will be when we adopt the final budget, which is what we send to the county, and that becomes published as our annual budget. So yeah, that's our budget process.
And we won't have our feelings hurt if you leave at this point.
Yeah. I know, it's fascinating.
Yeah, just wait.
Character. And also, so the financial documents we have here, we have an internal staff generated one. And then the printout stuff is actually from the county because a long time ago, the rec district wisely decided to hold all of our money in the county treasury. So we are not a county agency, but we pay them to do accounting for us to a certain extent. And we felt that even though it's very expensive, it's a really great method for transparency. So people can see exactly where all the money goes and comes in and all that kind of stuff. So that's why you have 2 different kinds of documents.
So the pages that say 1 of 1 or 2 of 3,
Right,
those 3, yeah. So the GL balances I had sort of at the front of this side of the packet. This one, the proposed budget, it's over here. So you can follow, if you look at equity and pooled cash, has our beginning balance, 548, 1 of 1 page from the county. So 548, so this is this year, fiscal year, ending balance 117, right? So that's outie. So we actually, our fund balance, I'm not sure why they do these separately. I sent a question into them today because I'm not aware why the fund balance and the equity and pooled are in a separate category. I think they just get put into that section differently, but the numbers, oh, thank you. We really have 107 is
In
what's
the end
accessible.
balance,
The fund balance
the end balance here.
on,
Am I looking at the
Yeah.
wrong one?
so this is, I asked today at the county, what is the difference between the way they tag equity and pooled cash
Right.
and fund balance? Because typically those are the, bye you guys, thank you.
Good night, you guys. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you very much, guys.
Take care.
Equity and pooled cash and fund balance
Got
are
it.
typically the same numbers.
Right.
In this, they are not. So what I had calculated after our expenditures from this deal was 107.
107.
So fund balance, I believe, is the accurate actuals
Yes,
of
that-
what
right.
is left in
Okay,
our,
Right, all right.
I don't know, savings, right?
Right,
'Cause fund balance
savings.
is like
Yeah, fund
a
balance.
silly term, but,
Okay.
Not to be confused with fun.
fun, right?
We need a fund surplus.
Obviously, investment in general fixed assets, all that stuff is, our purchase. We don't really have $1 million in anywhere right now.
Yeah, too bad.
Too bad.
We began at $1 million for structure.
So they move the monies, like they debit and credit monies in. So this is always a weird read. Because like for the beginning and the end of our budget this year, equity and pooled cash line item, our budget ended up being 353 because we moved monies out of our equity and pooled cash to accommodate some of the expenditures of the deal. So that got debited, and then they call it credit when they put the money back in. So to them, it's just like we've got the two monies. We've got 548 or whatnot in the beginning. They take out, our whatever our budget is, and then they credit whatever we don't use, which is usually nothing at the end.
Interesting.
So for this one, we had, this looks like we got credited more monies,
Right.
because really what happened is we spent our budget and our fund balance, or our savings.
Right.
But like I said, I sent to her today, so, what is the difference between the fund balance and the equity and pooled cash? Because it's my understanding that the fund balance is actually what our funds, our savings is at this juncture.
That's what
Could you structure it so that it would be any more confusing?
I don't know, I think that the way, their system has things in so many different places.
But what
Like-
they're looking at it's a total net gain and loss.
Yes,
Right,
Yeah.
exactly, okay.
So I very rarely look at this just at the end of the year to make sure,
Yeah,
like, the numbers look accurate to me, but, in our past few audits, structures and improvements, like all those funds, those basically have been repeated or from year to year. It's not like we go out and get
right,
anything to see how much, like, our value of the rec center
stays the same.
is, essentially not in there.
Right,
So,
However, as long as we know what we have in the bank.
so anyway, 106 is what we have, so,
Okay.
sorry, 107. Usually I just start off with, oh shoot. Hold on. So this is just expense. Did any of you get a revenue page?
I have the revenue page,
Sorry.
but I don't have the final expenditures page.
so
I have the
I've,
beginning of the
Financial summaries.
Yeah, each of these packets has a different thing.
I think the revenue page is page 1 of 3, yeah?
Are you talking about the county?
Yeah, I'm talking about the
Or
county.
other stuff?
Yeah.
There should be 3 pages. from
Yeah,
that.
I've
You have all
got
3?
3 pages, yeah.
So I have 2.
I have two tally pages. Is that
Yeah,
what
that's
you have?
accurate. So let's just look at that because I put actuals on my version, but I can get you the PDFs from the county.
Okay.
Sorry, I
So
don't know why it
we're
didn't
using
pull
this
all
one.
those. So I just copy the numbers so that it's on our Excel sheet to make it easier. So the first line item there, the 2016-17, is what we budgeted. Second line or column is the actuals. And then the proposed is in the third column. We ended up with more tax revenue than was estimated,
Then we
which
budgeted
is
for it,
wonderful. We spent it. We spent every last penny this year,
Good.
which I anticipate doing next year too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think we'll have a lot left over. So the basically, I don't usually put in a lot of those smaller tax monies because A lot of them vary from year to year quite a bit. So it's always just like, oh, yippee, we got a little money from that. So I usually keep those all at a minimal. So character 1 there in the taxes. They secured 193,000 for us this year, so that's the biggest amount of tax revenue that I've seen come
Yep.
in
Yep, absolutely.
for our district since I've been here,
Yeah.
which is very
Thanks.
exciting.
Okay, but we could get more.
You could, but 193 is what they estimate for this year.
Well, but didn't they estimate 179? We got 190.
Yeah, but it's just what they'll secure. So you can't build your budget on more
Oh,
than what
no,
they
no, no.
secure.
Of
Yeah,
course not.
yeah.
Right.
But there's the potential for if
As
it goes in.
places sell and they're
Oh,
reassessed,
yeah.
that's where it goes. And so if you have a bunch of sales, your tax revenue goes up.
2 weeks ago.
Okay, so we're close on the close to last year actuals probably for money coming in for taxes. I kept most of the numbers close to what actuals came in this year for next year. Rents and concessions, I know will go up from this location. Obviously, we've already brought in a fair amount of rental income. So I did bring that up a little bit. We've been under a little bit on rents because some of our, funds have kind of shifted within our budget. And our programs are doing a little bit more than concessions and rentals that we've had in the past. So some of those classes aren't happening as much anymore, and our
As our
programs are, so we're taking those slots. So those are coming down a little bit. Rents are, any rentals we have in parks, any constant rentals like jazzercise or line dance or things like that come in. Let's see, charges for other charges, current services, we estimated at 95,000 and we came in at 115 this year. Due to,
That's our revenue, yeah.
that's our programs.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we, obviously with the growth of adding programs up here and membership income, I'm bringing it up to 140. Park dedication fees, we have.
Are you okay with that, because part of the increase too is gonna be under the rents and concessions, like that, this.
That'll come up too, but we're gonna have, in 4 months of running the pool, like membership, we're gonna have,
Okay, cool.
I'm
Just
aiming
wanna
for
make
4,000
sure
to
that-
5,000
Yeah,
a month for memberships to accommodate the $4,000 to $5,000.
Yeah, don't get all hooked on it.
Yeah, no, I'm like, we're not in those numbers right now. To accommodate the expense of staff. So that'll equally get used up on the next page, but I'm just going to that number because we have to, it's harder once
Well, it's the first year.
if we don't put it in there, then I've got to move monies and all that. So if I just kind of aim for it being here, and if we don't get up there. So park dedication fees, I would like to actually use this year. We didn't even use any of it. We have about 13,000 to 14,000 in that fund that we can use. So I'm
We
hoping
can put that at Gary Hand.
to do some. Oh,
The floor
you do that
would
for
qualify.
college drop?
yeah, the floor would qualify. Any of the projects up here would qualify. Anything other than flooring for the office.
Right.
Like pretty much anything else that's not just staff-based funds
Yep,
qualifies.
half your roof.
And then, now that we're also a county facility, I think we should get some of their park
Hey,
dedication
yeah,
fees.
really?
How much is the roof to fix?
45,000.
Oh, sorry, it's twice what I thought it was. I was guessing
Quarter of
20.
the roof.
Um,
Roof there.
so then going on to the next page, we did not put in some of our donations this year into our budget because they're still held in our foundation. So if we need the funds to move for expenditures within our budget, then I'm asking them to write them to us. But right now they have 27,000 in their fund.
Wow.
That's great.
So those monies are, available for projects as we need. So, we'll see what we're going to move. I anticipate actually spending some more this year of that. So I did go up on that, even though we were a little under in the amount that we anticipated from last year.
But that's not including the foundation, I mean, what
This
we
has, the
anticipate-
foundation, right, that
Yeah.
has nothing to do with these. I'm just anticipating needing to spend some more of those funds this year, and we didn't move them into our budget
In time.
to expend, but just, we
Yeah.
didn't need to, because we
Yeah.
used up the money, and we don't need to put money into the county
We don't have to.
if we're not gonna spend it
Right,
yet.
totally.
Because it gets confusing to put it in there, and then it gets lost within the budget from last fiscal year. It's not like I can earmark it for the next year. So if we're gonna spend it, I wanna do it within the same fiscal year.
Yeah, gotcha.
And then, is that all of those? Yeah, because that's a addition of those two together. So that brings our budget for the year up to 407.
407, which is
Yep.
the most it's ever been.
It is the most it's ever been. Obviously, a chunk of that is donation and, and park dedication, like funds that we may or may not use.
Right.
So we just make sure to watch that on the other end too. You guys, this is a disaster. There is a third page.
Yeah, I'm missing the rest of,
Yeah.
there's more of expenditures.
All right.
Well, good thing this is a preliminary.
Good thing.
review.
Yeah,
Yes.
for free, huh?
This looks wonderful.
We would have to reject this.
Go
and
for
have a
it.
Special meeting to adopt the budget.
And it's probably not on here because I don't have the
Who's
internet.
running this?
I know.
Okay.
Just can't do it. Have the
Then
thumbs
Snack
off.
Shack and then this.
I
Is there even a bar? What's coming?
know. I know.
I did go get a glass of water at the kitchen, and it's the perfect snack shack. Are you kidding me?
It is, yeah.
Yeah. I think the crock pot hot dog thing's great. I've seen that on Pinterest.
You
You've
guys.
been on Pinterest?
Only once or twice.
An
One
hour.
crop for the hot dog and one crop for the sauerkraut.
Oh,
Yeah,
cheers.
that's probiotic.
All right, hold on. Let me at least put these down.
I'm gonna open a Pete's facility out here, Pete's.
A
Coffee.
Pete's.
Oh, gosh.
I still want to sell beer.
I
don't
don't want
know.
to sell margaritas.
I don't know if I was talking to somebody about that, and we need to get a liquor license. And I can't figure out some clever way
We'll figure some clever way out.
to make it event-based or something like that.
They do have a nonprofit one.
Like if the
The
foundation.
Odd
had
Fellow,
that.
yeah, the Odd Fellows have one.
I was kind of hopeful about that. 'Cause,
It's still not cheap. I don't know the exact.
it'd be interesting to see
amount.
how this out.
I think the
If we
regular,
actually do it on the Saturday,
the regular one is
Sunday,
10,000 a year for beer and wine. I think something like that.
Is what?
I think it's close to 10,000 a year
Wow.
Oh,
for.
I don't know that because we would limit the amount of people that.
But I think that's for I think that's like a regular restaurant.
I might need help
I think it's
drinking that
different.
much beer.
You know, a few people that might be able to help you with that.
Okay, hold on. Board meeting tonight.
Well done, well done.
Well done, not
We don't need
including
to see the
most
rest
of your
of
pages.
We don't need to see the rest of the
But not what you're
expenditures.
gonna spend, whatever.
I'm good with
Hold on.
expenditures ending at 229.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm thinking of the 200 and bring it forward. Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
All right.
That's okay.
It's not really. Hold on.
Is this in the PDF you sent?
I hope so. That's what I was trying to pull up.
Let's check it out.
With this speedy internet here. Okay, it's on here. All right.
This is LT, I know, like,
I know.
the ways it's 3G.
Okay, so we can go through here. Anybody else have it? Yeah.
Yeah.
Where are you looking?
So we're on our phones. The email I sent with your packets.
Oh, you know what went to my other email address.
But at least we can go through
Okay.
any major. I know, right?
I can turn the turn.
If you guys have one, we can email it. If you have a phone,
Oh, this is fine.
we can email it too. Because we're
It's really
missing,
not.
we're missing a page of expenditures.
I know.
Well, maybe ours actually 20 ago.
Oh,
There's
you've
a
got one?
third. She's like, I got the original.
I'm thinking like, isn't it supposed to be printed like that?
Oh, she's got
Yeah,
it.
she's got it.
She's
Oh,
got
okay,
it.
so I have it. So does anyone else need to see it?
I got it on my phone, but now we're full.
Yeah.
Have access to what we're
So I'm
Yeah,
just
right.
like, it's supposed to look like that, right?
Yeah.
Put those 2 pages together.
Yeah, you got them. See, we only had 2.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you guys need the
No,
third
no.
for a
Well,
while?
George
You
is
can
the
pass
only
it.
one, I think, right?
I would take a quick look at it.
Yeah,
So
we can all-
the copier
the
does
lead
not
item
pull
on
all
it.
the pages evenly, obviously.
You probably need to see it more than we do.
Every packet
Yes,
is.
you do. By all means, you can keep that page.
Oh, no, I'm happy to give it back. I was just looking at it.
Huh?
We paid Tony a lot of money this year.
Of course. I know, he's usually, I'm like, can we get him down to 100? In past years, well, we did a lot with him
Not much
this
for an
year.
attorney, though.
Yeah. Well, we had all that talk about.
Right.
Okay, well, when you're ready, we'll go through it.
Oh, no, I mean, you guys can look and ask questions. A lot of them
So,
are the same,
special-
obviously.
62,888, special district expenses, services.
62,888, our big, yes.
It's not auditing. I mean, I can see the audit up above. The election is lined out, so
Oh, shoot. It was shifted. Yeah, the line item 125 should not be at that. Let's go to the other sheet. Okay, that's the problem with writing them in manually. Okay, that one should be 28,000 in actual, where it says 125. Is that the one you're looking at?
Special district.
Special district expense?
special district expense, this one.
Yeah.
Should be 28.
So whatever got written there, for some reason they have probation services in our budget, and it shouldn't be there, so that threw off the numbers, like the 560, anyway, this is
Yeah.
there's a line item in here that doesn't belong in here.
Probation services.
Oh, there's a whole
Probation
section.
services is like part of the jail. It's not our
Yeah.
thing. So all the numbers got off by 1 after that one.
Mhm.
So 5,000. Printing costs, is that one on there? What do you have for printing? Yeah, 5,000, that's right. Legal notices was 187, is that right?
Yeah,
Okay, election expense is 125.
yep,
Next line item, instead of 125, should read 28,000.
28,000.
Yes,
So
334.
that's special district expenses,
Right.
services. Okay.
So that's all of our program costs, all of our events costs, all of
Got
our web costs, like, it's essentially our whole, everything program related, it's our budget.
Right, okay,
Yeah, so it's,
okay. Now
that's for,
that makes more sense. Okay.
most of our expense
Thank
comes
you.
out of that
We
line
got,
item. Yeah.
here's the correction, is right.
Okay, but are you sure you don't want to keep?
Yeah, no, that's okay.
Yeah.
I'll see it. I can go home.
He
and print
memorized it.
Okay.
But the totals are still the same. So if you go to your financial summary on 3 of 3
That makes a longer sense than
is 100, yeah. We just, decided not to do any programs
Yeah.
this year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's it. That is, outside of not having any of your pages for your packet here, the rest of that is, obviously,
In 2018.
we had, no, we'll have the audit.
Okay.
Every other year,
But the next
there's
two
one.
go to likable,
'Cause it's
right?
for-
So you guys never get run again. This is my
You just-
first time I've been run again.
It's so loud there. Well done. All right, we'll bring this back in the next meeting.
Yeah, I already see changes that we need to make, but
Well,
that's why it's good to go
if there was
through this
anything
number of
that
times.
anybody would be interested in changing, this would be the time to do it. So I'm just pointing out
We're
that,
going to have that issue in August anyways because of the order of the things on the agenda.
Okay.
I was thinking about the mechanics of it, because, we're gonna have, it's linked to this public employee performance evaluation.
Right,
So
okay.
that'll shift things around next month anyways.
Yes.
I was thinking about it when I was looking at the agenda, I'm like,
I hear what
well,
you're
we
saying.
couldn't really convenience the public by putting the closed session before the budget, but we should have done it that way, just so that anything that may have come out of there. But now there's new rules. If it were decided that for some reason there should be a monetary compensation increase, public laws have changed, and we're actually going to have to put that on the open agenda and talk about that.
So we can't.
So, and we could do that in August.
Yes, and that's going to make this change if, in fact, the board decides to
Okay.
go that direction. So I gotta look at the specific thing, but we have to actually make some sort of pronouncement about her meets or exceeds standards.
About, sorry.
Her performance meeting or exceeding standards in order to justify whatever increase the board may decide to give her. There's like a little speech you gotta follow that is in the legislation that passed. Yeah, it's just it's because of all those frickin' people down in Norco or whatever town, what, Bellflower.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That was a good
So it's
story.
not a bad idea, it's
Right.
just kind of weird for us, because
Yeah.
we haven't run through that before. Bell,
Bell.
that's
Bell,
right.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
Just
just
follow
gotta,
their lead.
this is it.
I
Yeah.
gotta look into it. I should just type in City of Bell ramifications legislation.
No, I like the guy who was paying himself $800,000 a year. I thought that was
Was he
inventive.
like the garbage collector?
Yeah, well, I think he was like the mayor or something like that.
Right?
Well,
Yeah,
there's, council members that were
Yeah.
just getting a bunch of.
yeah, I think we're doing this all wrong, guys.
It's just one more vote mistake for.
Oh my God. You can donate your family to do it.
Is the public allowed to say?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think we're pretty much done. We just kind of want to go through, and it's a little out of order, but I was definitely going to have you guys have the opportunity to say whatever you like.
I mean, with the start of the snack bar, I know it would kind of be hard and it's extra work, and you guys already do a shitload of work now. Like, you guys do a lot of work. But I mean, if it's just Costco prepackaged stuff, that would at least be doable in the beginning. And I totally think that would be an excellent idea. Peanut M&Ms would be my request.
Okay.
And those natural granola bars of any flavor, I will take those and buy those.
You could almost even have an honor system.
No, you can't.
No.
You could not.
No,
have-
you
Well, I would say to start, we would probably have to run it. We only have a host, and you can't keep an eye on who's coming in the door, and like we don't have a fourth employee
It would have
to run the snack shack, so it'd have to be
I think
something that you could run out of there,
we
and
could
you know
use
you have your
volunteer
little
for.
your chip bag and your da da da, and
There are people
Oh, you
who
can
have
open
said
it
they
up
want
every
to.
half an hour for 5 minutes. Okay, snack bar's open, come get your snack.
Actually, they do that.
Yeah.
That's how my camp used to work.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. Top of the
A
hour.
commissary.
Yeah, exactly. You got 5 minutes, kids.
So,
Either
get
that
your
or
liquor
volunteers.
throats.
uh-huh.
There's tons of people that said, we want to do something. It's like, well,
Great.
she'll peanut M&Ms. That really good plus because you're helping generate
Could
revenue.
be, it could be,
Keeping the kids from getting hangry.
could be that one person that needs the scholarship for a membership for their family, and
Yeah.
they're the person that runs the snack shack on certain days or whatever.
True.
So, okay, sweet.
Did you guys have any other comments?
I don't think so. Unless you need something from the public saying Holly's doing like an awesome, amazing job, and how the heck does she be able to do all this in the hours in the day, you know?
I don't know.
If you need that from the public for her review, there's that.
Thanks.
We want to do the same thing ourselves.
Yeah, like, how do you squeeze this much work into this many hours? I
Yeah.
don't know how you do that, but you do, so, you know.
Thanks, Rachel.
And you can reuse the full.
Okay. Thank you. I need all the help I can get.
Okay, so then let's, we'll, we have a resolution in front of us. That was one of the first 3, we'll pass it next month after we.
Let's put no reportable action at this time.
Exactly, you know, goes over to unfinished business, I guess.
Okay.
The reportable action was, please
Get
format
your-
the budget before you hit print.
It was in one.
Page layout.
But somehow it
Somehow
got-
I
it
did
got-
get on
it-
some.
It got
It's
done.
the copier.
Yeah.
Doesn't pull all the
Folding
changes.
pages, yeah.
Are you
Because
saying
each
you
one
need
had a
new
different one, huh?
You need a new copier?
Oh.
Oh,
If you have one to give, sure. It's not in the budget.
Okay, so now is the time that we're going to adjourn to closed session and talk about the items number 13 and 14. And we'll excuse the members of the public. Thank you very much for joining us and following that sort of our company because, you know, the crickets get a little loud sometimes.
And the way this works, just so y'all know, the way it works is we come back out of closed session. If there are any reportable actions, we have to say what they are. So you could sit in your car or sit outside and wait until the end.
You
People
could even use the
have-
couch if you want.
Anyway, I'm just letting you know that.
yeah, we'll have dinner
Yeah, okay.
and talk about other crap.
All right.
Thank you for coming.
Yay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Careful walking out, it looks a little dark. Okay, good.
We used to call this adult dark.
Yeah, I'm
This
like,
is
oh,
dark
the
for
night
adults.
vision.
It's because it's dark when you're looking outside, but if you're a kid out there, there's still plenty of light.
Oh,
You
you're
know.
throwing water balloons at people, it's awesome. Is this the last meeting up here, or are we having one more up here?
Whatever you guys want to
We
do.
should have a couple more up here now. I totally will bring a 6-pack next time.
A sleeping bag?
A 6-pack.
Oh. Like, wow, you're already out.
Sleeping bag.
That's what's happening here tonight, tomorrow night.
What's happening here tomorrow night?
Sleepover.
What? I can't? Are we having the